Welcome back, everybody, to another deep dive. So today, we are diving into the Fanttik E1 Max 3.7 mini electric screwdriver.
Oh,
You guys shared this Amazon page with us and are trying to figure out, is this the tool for you? Is it worth all the hype? We got customer reviews, specs, the whole 9 yards.
yeah.
So let's get into it.
Cool. It jumps out to me right away.
Mm-hmm.
It's really interesting how they're marketing this as a precision tool,
Okay.
specifically for electronics repair.
Yeah.
It's pretty niche focus.
Yeah, right.
It suggests they're really trying to cater to a specific user.
For sure. And they're throwing around some pretty impressive sounding numbers too, right?
Yeah.
Like boast about this E1 Max's torque.
Right.
A 0.2 nanometer high setting, a 0.05 low setting, and then a 3 nanometer manual mode.
Okay.
What did those numbers even tell us? Can I build a bookshelf with this thing?
Let's break it down, right? 0.2 nanometers on the lower end when it comes to torque.
Okay.
For context, that's about the same force you'd apply like when you're gently tightening a screw by hand.
Gotcha.
So it's perfect for those delicate electronics where
Right.
you don't want to strip the screw heads
Yeah.
or damage the components.
So maybe not the best for building a bookshelf then.
Probably not for heavy-duty construction, no.
Okay.
But for electronics like phones, laptops, or even like game consoles,
Yeah.
that 0.2 nanometer is really going to be your sweet spot.
Gotcha.
And then that super low 0.05, that's for the really tiny stuff,
Oh, wow.
like eyeglasses or jewelry.
Okay.
That level of control is pretty rare to find in an electric screwdriver.
Interesting. Yeah, no, I'm starting to see why they're emphasizing precision so much with this thing.
Right.
But they also mention using it for building keyboards and even working on 3D printed parts.
Uh-huh.
That sounds a bit more demanding, don't you think?
It does. And that's where I think that 3 nanometer media manual mode comes in.
Okay.
It gives you that extra bit of oomph for those tasks that need a little more force.
Okay.
But we'll have to dig into those reviews to see, how well it actually performs in those situations.
Right. Yeah. User feedback is going to be key here.
For sure.
Okay. Let's move on to something a bit more visual. The bits.
Okay.
This thing comes with 50 bits,
Wow.
all neatly organized in a magnetic case.
50 bits is a pretty generous selection.
Yeah.
It tells me that they're really trying to cover a wide range of potential use cases.
For sure.
And the fact that they're S2 hardened steel is a good sign.
Okay.
That's a type of steel known for its toughness and durability.
Yeah.
So these bits should hold up well over time,
Right.
even with frequent use.
Yeah, and you know me, I love a good satisfying click and a pop bop.
Of course.
And this case seems to really deliver on that front with this cool pop-up mechanism.
Nice.
But let's be practical for a second. 50 bits is a lot to keep track of.
Absolutely. A well-designed case is essential,
Right.
especially when you're dealing with such small components.
For sure.
It keeps everything organized,
Yeah.
prevents you from losing those tiny bits.
Right.
Not to mention, it just feels nice, There's something about a well-organized toolkit that just makes you feel more prepared and professional.
100% agree. Okay, let's talk about a crucial factor. Battery life.
Okay.
The listing claims that you can handle 400 screws on a single charge.
Wow.
That sounds almost too good to be true.
Yeah.
What do you make of that claim?
Well, manufacturer claims and real-world performance don't always perfectly align, We'll definitely need to see what the customer reviews say about this.
Yeah.
Factors like the type of screws, the material you're driving them into,
Yeah.
and even the age of the battery.
Oy.
Could all impact how long a charge actually lasts.
Okay, so 400 screws might be achievable under ideal conditions,
Right.
but it's probably best to take that number with a grain of salt.
Yeah,
We'll get a clearer picture, I think, when we dive into those user experiences later on.
exactly. And speaking of user experience, there are a few other features worth highlighting that might make or break the deal for you.
Okay, like what? Fill me in.
Well, first off, it has a circular LED light built in.
Oh, nice.
This is fantastic for illuminating your workspace,
Yeah.
especially when you're dealing with those tiny screws in dimly lit areas.
Right.
It's a small detail, but it can make a huge difference
Sure.
in terms of precision and preventing eye strain.
Oh, that's a great point. Yeah, I can definitely see how that would be helpful.
Another nice touch is the universal USB-C port for charging.
Okay.
No need for proprietary chargers. Just
Oh.
grab any USB-C cable and you're good to go.
Nice. Convenient.
Yeah.
And wait, does it have a battery level indicator? Because I am always paranoid about my tools dying mid-project.
You're in luck.
Okay.
It does have a battery level indicator,
Nice.
so no more surprise shutdowns.
That's great.
Knowing how much juice you have left
Yeah.
helps you plan your work
Right.
and avoids frustration.
Yeah.
It's a small detail,
Yeah.
But it's those little things that show Fanttik was paying attention to user needs.
For sure, for sure. Okay, I'm liking what I'm hearing so far.
Good.
But let's address the elephant in the room. Who is this screwdriver really for? Is it just for, like tech whizzes who build their own computers, or could someone like me, who's more of a casual fixer, get some use out of it?
That's a great question, and it brings us back to that initial focus on precision and electronics repair.
Yeah.
The E1 Max is definitely not designed to be a heavy-duty tool for assembling furniture
Okay.
or, tackling large construction projects.
Gotcha.
However, its capabilities extend beyond just the hardcore tech enthusiast.
So someone who occasionally needs to, like, tighten a loose screw on their laptop or fix a wobbly chair leg could find this useful.
Absolutely. It's perfect for those everyday fixes around the house.
Right.
Especially if you're dealing with electronics or small appliances.
Okay.
And remember, we saw that some people are using it for more demanding tasks like 3D printing.
Right.
So there's definitely some flexibility there.
Okay, that's good to know. But Fanttik also has other screwdriver models, right? How does this one compare to the rest of their lineup?
You're right. They do have a whole range of screwdrivers. And luckily for us, the Amazon page actually includes a handy comparison table
Oh, nice.
that breaks down the key specs of each model.
Okay.
So this is a great resource for you to see
Yeah.
how the E1 Max stacks up against its siblings
Right.
and decide if it's the right fit for your specific needs.
I'm looking at the table right now, and wow, there are some notable differences.
Yeah.
For example, the S1 Pro has a max torque of 6 Nm.
Wow. That's a far cry from the E1 Max's 0.2.
Exactly. If you anticipate needing that extra power,
Yeah.
for tougher jobs, the S1 Pro might be a better choice.
Okay.
But for precision work and everyday fixes,
Yeah.
the E1 Max holds its own.
So it really comes down to understanding those torque numbers
Mm-hmm.
and matching the tool to the task at hand.
Right.
It's not just about getting like the most powerful screwdriver.
Yeah.
It's about getting the right tool for the job.
Precisely.
Mhm.
And speaking of making informed decisions, I noticed something interesting while I was browsing the product page.
Okay.
The E1 Max is listed as climate pledge friendly. You know what? I saw that too, but I didn't really give it much thought.
Yeah.
Is it just a marketing gimmick, or is there something more to it?
Well, from what I've gathered, it's more than just a label.
Okay.
The Climate Pledge Friendly program is an initiative by Amazon where they partner with brands to promote and create more sustainable products.
Okay.
For the E1 Max, it seems the focus is on reducing and offsetting carbon emissions throughout the product's life cycle.
Interesting. So by choosing this screwdriver, you're not just getting like a handy tool, you're also supporting a brand that's making an effort to be more environmentally responsible.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I think it's a really important consideration,
Yeah.
especially these days.
Right.
We often focus on the features and specs of a product,
Yeah.
but it's becoming increasingly important to factor in sustainability as well.
100%. It's all about making conscious choices and thinking about the bigger picture.
I agree.
Okay, so we got a precision-focused electric screwdriver with a ton of bits, a decent battery life, hopefully, and even some sustainability cred. Right.
But what are people actually saying about it? Are they
Wow.
loving it, hating it, or somewhere in between?
Let's dive into those customer reviews and see what real users have to say about the Fanttik E1 Max.
All right, let's do it.
Okay. All right, let's get into these reviews. What stands out to me immediately is the sheer variety of projects people are using this thing for.
Oh, yeah.
We've got folks using it for, like, the standard electronics repair,
Right.
fixing smartphones, laptops.
Uh,
But then we also have people using it for things like building custom mechanical keyboards
yeah.
and even working on intricate 3D printed models.
That's pretty impressive. I mean, it's clearly marketed as a precision tool for electronics,
Right?
but it seems like people are really pushing the boundaries of what this little screwdriver can do.
I think that speaks to the versatility of the bit selection
Yeah.
and the overall quality of the tool.
Okay.
A lot of the reviewers are praising the build quality,
Uh-huh.
saying things like,
Right.
it feels solid.
The bits are top-notch.
Yeah.
It seems like Fanttik really did their homework when it came to materials and construction.
And remember those satisfying clicks we were talking about?
Oh, yeah.
Several reviewers specifically call out the magnetic strength
Okay.
of the bits, the case, the screwdriver itself.
Uh-huh.
Like everything just snaps into place securely.
Yeah,
Which is a huge plus when you're dealing with tiny parts.
absolutely. A secure magnetic connection is essential,
Right.
for preventing those frustrating moments where a bit falls out mid-project.
Totally.
And it sounds like the E1 Max really delivers on that front.
Okay, good.
One reviewer even called it a tank of a kit. which I think pretty much sums up the overall sentiment regarding the build quality.
Yeah, that's high praise for sure.
Right.
But let's be real, no product is perfect, right?
Right.
We need to look at those less than glowing reviews, too.
Yeah.
What kind of issues are people running into?
Well, as we anticipated, there are some complaints about power.
Okay.
A few reviewers felt the E1 Max was underpowered,
Mm-hmm.
particularly when dealing with tighter screws or working with slightly larger projects.
Right.
Remember how we were discussing that 0.2 nanometer torque?
Yeah.
It seems like for some tasks, that just isn't enough.
Yeah. One reviewer mentioned struggling to back out a screw from their child's toy battery compartment,
Oh, yeah.
which is, a pretty relatable situation.
Yeah.
And it highlights the fact that this is not a heavy-duty tool
Right.
meant to replace a full-size screwdriver
Right.
for those tougher jobs.
Exactly. Setting realistic expectations is key here.
Right.
The E1 Max is a fantastic tool
Yeah.
for precision work and everyday fixes,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not going to handle every single task you throw at it.
Another critique I'm seeing is about the grip.
Okay.
A few people mentioned that the smooth cylindrical handle
Mm-hmm.
could get slippery,
Right.
especially if their hands were sweaty.
Yeah.
They suggested adding some kind of texture or like a rubberized grip for better control.
That's a valid point. Ergonomics are really important when it comes to tools,
Yeah, for sure.
especially if you're going to be using them for extended periods.
Right.
A comfortable and secure grip can make a big difference in terms of fatigue and precision.
So it seems like the general consensus is that the Fanttik E1 Max is like a well-built,
Yeah.
convenient, and easy-to-use screwdriver that excels at precision tasks,
Right.
particularly electronics repair.
Mm-hmm.
But it does have its limitations,
Right.
primarily in terms of power and grip.
Precisely. And this brings us back to the importance of understanding your needs and use cases.
Right.
If you're primarily working on electronics,
Yeah.
small appliances,
Uh-huh.
and other light-duty tasks that require precision,
Okay.
the E1 Max could be a fantastic addition to your toolkit.
Right.
But if you need something more heavy-duty or versatile, you might want to explore other options,
Yeah.
like that S1 Pro we were looking at earlier
Right.
with its 6 nanometers of torque.
Right. Don't forget about that handy comparison table on the Amazon page.
Yeah.
Right. It's a really helpful resource for comparing the different Fanttik models side by side
Yeah.
and finding the one that best aligns with your, projects and expectations.
Definitely.
Speaking of making informed choices, I want to circle back to that climate pledge friendly designation.
Okay.
We were a bit skeptical earlier,
Right.
but I did some digging and it seems like there's some real substance behind it.
Oh, tell me more. What did you find out?
Well, it turns out that for the E1 Max, the Climate Pledge Friendly label specifically highlights that the carbon emissions from its production and shipping
Okay.
have been measured,
Right.
reduced,
Got
and
it.
offset.
Right.
It's not just like a vague claim about being eco-friendly.
Right.
There are actual steps being taken to minimize the environmental impact.
That's fantastic. I'm always happy to see companies taking concrete action towards sustainability.
Yeah.
And it's a good reminder that we as consumers
Right.
can make a difference
Yeah,
by supporting brands that prioritize environmental responsibility.
for sure. Okay, so we've looked at the specs, we've
Yeah.
considered the customer reviews,
Mhm.
and we've even explored the sustainability angle.
Right.
But what does all of this mean for you, our listener?
Yeah.
What are the key takeaways here?
I think the biggest takeaway is that the Fanttik E1 Max is a specialized tool
Okay.
designed for a specific purpose.
Okay.
It's not a one-size-fits-all solution for every single screwdriving need,
Right.
but it excels in its niche,
Uh-huh.
precision work and electronics repair.
Right.
If you're someone who frequently tinkers with gadgets,
Yeah.
repairs electronics,
Mm.
or works on projects that require a delicate touch,
Okay.
this could be a game changer for you.
And even if you're not like a hardcore tech enthusiast,
Right.
the E1 Max can still be a valuable addition to your toolkit for those everyday fixes around the house.
Absolutely.
Just remember to be realistic about its capabilities.
Yeah.
It's not meant for heavy-duty tasks.
Exactly. And don't forget about those extra features that enhance the user experience. Like the LED light, the USB-C charging,
Right.
and the battery level indicator. Those little details can really make a difference
For sure.
in terms of convenience and usability.
Right. It's not just about the raw specs.
Right.
It's about the overall package.
Yeah.
So have we answered all of your questions about the Fanttik E1 Max?
Well, we've covered a lot of ground,
Yeah.
but there's one final thought I'd like to leave you with.
Yeah, okay.
Something to ponder as you weigh your options and make your decision.
Okay, hit me with that final thought. What's the big takeaway?
Well, we've spent this entire deep dive, talking about screwdrivers,
Right.
tools designed to tighten things, to put things together.
Yeah.
But what if we flip the script for a moment?
Okay.
What if instead of always focusing on tools that help us, like, build
Yeah.
and secure,
Uh-huh.
we also consider the value of tools that help us open things up?
Whoa. That's an interesting perspective. I'm not sure I follow you, though. What do you mean by opening things up?
Think about it. We live in a world where so much of our technology is designed to be disposable.
Right.
It's difficult to repair things ourselves,
Uh-huh.
and we're often encouraged to just, like, buy new products
Yeah.
rather than fix the old ones.
Right.
But there's a growing movement pushing back against this,
Okay.
the right to repair
Oh,
movement.
yeah, I've heard about that. It's about giving consumers the ability to fix their own devices, right?
Exactly. It's about empowerment,
Okay.
about having access to the information and the tools needed
Right.
to understand and repair the technology we rely on.
Gotcha.
And tools like the Fanttik E1 Max,
Yeah.
with its focus on precision electronics repair,
Uh-huh.
can actually be seen as tools of empowerment.
Okay. I see where you're going with this. It's not just about tightening screws. It's
Right.
about taking control of our technology, understanding how it works, and being able to fix it ourselves. Instead of being at the mercy of, manufacturers or expensive repair shops.
Precisely. It's about shifting our mindset,
Okay.
from passive consumers to active participants.
Yeah.
And that's what I find so fascinating about the E1 Max.
Mm-hmm.
It represents this idea of taking things into our own hands, literally and figuratively.
That's a really powerful way to look at it.
Yeah.
So as our listener is deciding whether or not to buy this screwdriver,
Yeah.
they shouldn't just be focusing on the specs and features.
Right.
They should also consider what it represents.
Right.
A tool that can empower them to repair, tinker,
Yeah.
and gain a deeper understanding of the technology they use every single day.
Exactly. It's about looking beyond the immediate task of tightening a screw
Right.
and considering the bigger picture.
Yeah.
What kind of relationship do we want to have with our technology?
Oh, that's a good question.
Do we want to be dependent on others to fix it?
Yeah.
Or do we want to have the knowledge and the tools to do it ourselves?
That's a fantastic question to ponder. It's not just about the screwdriver.
Right.
It's about the mindset that it represents.
Exactly.
It's about, taking ownership
Uh-huh.
and becoming more engaged with the world around us.
And that, I believe, is the true value of a deep dive like this.
Yeah.
We start with a seemingly simple product, a screwdriver,
Right.
and we end up exploring much broader themes of empowerment,
Yeah.
sustainability, and our relationship with technology.
We've gone from torque specs to philosophical musing,
I know, right?
but that's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
You never know where a deep dive will take you.
Absolutely. And that's why I always encourage people to stay curious,
Yeah.
to keep asking questions, and to never stop exploring,
Right.
because you never know what you might discover.
Well said. So listener, as you're making your decision about this Fanttik E1 Max,
Yeah.
remember to think beyond the bits and the battery life.
Uh-huh.
Consider the possibilities that it unlocks, the
Yeah.
values that it represents, and the potential for empowerment it holds.
And no matter what you decide,
Yeah.
keep on learning, keep on exploring, and keep on diving deep into the things that spark your curiosity.
That's it for this deep dive. Thanks for joining us on this journey. And until next time, happy tinkering.